everyone. Today we're going to make Amish potato rolls. Every once in a while I'll make some Amish potato rolls, and today's recipe is a large recipe, and it comes from this cookbook. This was last week's Thursday find. So I get out my big mixer to mix up this because it's a large batch. Normally I mix by hand, but because it's so large I thought I would save myself some time and use the large mixer. Here are the ingredients. 5 eggs, 1 cup shortening, 2 cups mashed potatoes, 2 cups lukewarm water, 1 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of yeast, and 10 cups of bread flour or regular flour. Let me repeat the recipe again. 5 eggs, 1 cup shortening, 2 cups mashed potatoes, 2 cups lukewarm water, 1 cup sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of yeast, and 10 cups of bread flour. So these were the mashed potatoes that we had left over from yesterday. To start, I used the regular dough paddle, and then we will switch on to the hook paddle once it gets started. I'm the kind of person, I throw all of my ingredients in together and then I mix it, and it seems to work out really good for me. So we're going to use, I'm going to proof it. It doesn't call to proof it, but I'm just going to proof it because that's how I'm used to doing it. So in the 2 cups of lukewarm water, I'm going to add the 2 tablespoons of yeast. I always store my yeast in the freezer so it can last a long time. And to that, I'm just going to add a sprinkle of sugar. Yeast needs sugar to feed. So we'll just sprinkle a little sugar in there. And we're going to let that set for just a few minutes till the yeast is dissolved. I'll move this way so you can see me better. Okay, to that we're going to add our 5 eggs. I have been making potato rolls for probably 27, 28 years. Alright, 5 eggs were added. And then we're going to add our sugar, and then we're going to beat all of this until it's mixed up well. Okay, it's already mixed up well, and then I'm going to add my shortening already, because I'll add that next and then I'll add the yeast last. Now you can use lard. I didn't have any lard on hand, but you can use lard. And I do use Crisco. This is not one of those healthiest recipes. I'm not really expertise in healthy recipes. I'm in Amish Mennonite cooking, and this is what the Amish and this is what the Mennonite eat. But you know, typically the Amish and the Mennonite are very healthy people, and I think that's because they live a very active lifestyle. Alright, so the only things we didn't add yet are the yeast and the water and the salt. We're going to mix that up. And we're going to add a tablespoon of salt. Looks really good. And now we're going to add the 2 cups of the yeast and water. Alright, it calls for 10 cups of flour, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple cups of flour first before we change the hooks. So let's add the 2 cups of flour first. So let's add 3. And I turned the mixer around so it could be a little more interesting for the video. So this is 3 cups of the flour already. It depends on the humidity, it depends on a lot of things, whether or not you're going to use the full 10 cups. Every day is different. In fact, a lot of times I don't even go by what they say in the book. I add flour until it's the consistency of what I like. Alright, and let's add 4. Let's add half of it once here, because it's still thin enough that I can use the batter one. Okay, now it's starting to get a little thicker, so we used half of the flour. And this is bread flour. So bread flour may not take as much as regular flour. Alright. Let me get a spatula. Okay, we're going to take it all out of here like this because it's thick enough now that we will add our other flour to it. Just like that. Okay, now we're going to use the dough hook. This is going to give the machine a pretty good workout. 10 cups of flour is quite a bit, but I have done it before. Actually, while I had it open, let's get some more. So we're at 5, 6, let's go with 7 now. Alright. So we're at 7 cups of flour. You could see that this would be a big recipe to do by hand, but you can easily do it by hand. It's so much easier to use the mixer. And while I do not like using a lot of electricity, as you can see I have lights on. That's only for the camera, because without the lights it would be way too dark. But I don't use lights in my general everyday life. But because I'm on camera, I will have the lights on because somebody had asked why I use the lights. And the mixer I use every once in a while because it does really save a lot of time, especially on a day like today where I'm extremely busy. So we're at 7 cups of flour, and of course it's very doughy. And I'm going to bring the camera over here because from here on out it's just going to be adding more flour. Now I got the dough out of the bowl, and now we're going to knead it. You take the one end and you lift it front, forward, one end, forward, one end, forward. This was 10 cups of flour, and as you can see, it's going to need some more flour. The whole idea is try not to use too much flour or your bread will become very coarse. I'm sorry if this is shaking a little, the table. So we're going to keep going forward and forward. Then every once in a while you'll add a little flour. And forward and forward. To know when your bread is done being kneaded, it will be smooth like a baby's bottom. That is how the saying goes. Smooth as a baby's bottom. Then you take one of things like this. I have a scraper like this. Scrape it on because you don't want to waste any of it. Because making potato rolls is not the easiest job in the world. It's not the hardest thing to make, but it is time consuming. So you can see why in the Mennonite communities and in the Amish communities, they make potato bread every couple days when they have large families to feed. So you can see why it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. But a lot of them have daughters that help and take turns in mixing the dough. This is going to rise for a couple hours. It's still really sticky. This is a rich dough with all those eggs in it and all of that and the shortening in it. So we're going to keep kneading it. Just like that. And it's getting better. And then in the meantime, you want to have a bowl that has shortening or has butter, somehow that it has grease on it so the dough doesn't stick to it. I'm going to put a pretty nice amount of flour here so I can actually work with it. This amount of bread dough would not even feed that many people in an Amish home. But to me, this is a lot. As long as your dough is sticky, you need more flour. If it's really sticky, it's going to be a little sticky, but now we're getting better. Now we're getting at it. So you just keep kneading it and kneading it. We got to get all that gluten in. So we're probably at about 11 cups of flour, maybe. But it's kind of humid today, so it might be taking more. But you can start seeing, can you see the gluten working in? It's starting to get more billowy, like a cloud kind of. It's starting to fill up and it's starting to, you can see the gluten working. This is a good thing to do if you have a lot on your mind, because you can get out all kinds of frustrations. That used to be another old wives' tale. The women would get up at midnight and they would work the dough when they were troubled in their mind and spirit. It's a workout. You can hear in my voice that I'm a little bit out of breath. It is. It's a workout. The machine can only do so much. The machine just gets it. So I'm going to continue to work this, and then we're going to put it in our bowl and let it rise for about 2 hours, give or take. And I think the flour that I used was half bread flour and half regular flour. I use whatever I have on hand, but I think it was half and half. So kneading usually takes about 10 minutes. So of course I'm not going to do this all the 10 minutes. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and then I'll let you come back when we're totally done and it's totally risen. Alright, the dough is finished kneading. That's what it looks like. It's nice and smooth. You take a damp dish towel and you put it over the top of it. And this is going to sit for 2 hours until it is double in size. And in that time, it gives me a little time to clean up this horribly messy kitchen. Look how beautiful the potato dough has gotten. So what we do now is we punch it down, and we'll let it rise for another 30 minutes. As you can see, the dough is totally risen. And I am going to make 1 pan of potato rolls. I'm going to make potato bread. And we're going to make sticky buns to freeze. All with this same dough. So we're going to get out what I got for Thrifty Thursday. We're going to try one of these. I'm I'm only going to do one in these because I still don't know quite how this is going to bake. But we're going to put one loaf in one of these pans. I'm extremely curious as to what is going to happen. So that's what the pans look like. And it says I'm not supposed to spray them or anything, which I don't know how that's going to work, but we're going to try it. So we're going to make one small loaf with that. And we're going to take a hunk of it and make some rolls with it. As you can see, this makes a lot of dough. We're going to take some more to make sticky buns with it. So, I broke it up into all of these different piles. So we're going to start with the bread. Take a little flour in your hand and we're going to roll it around in our hands like that. And shape it. And that's going to go in our little bread box just like that. I think I'm going to try two. I'm just going to go ahead and try two because I have so much dough. We're going to try this and see how it looks, how it works. I always score my bread. I always either take a fork or I take a knife through it. You will find if you go to Amish bakeries, oftentimes the Amish will do the same thing. They will prick it with a fork. That just lets out any extra air bubbles. Let's get another hunk of the dough. Now this is going to rise until it covers to the top of the pan, so it might take another hour to rise. It's a very warm day today. It's 95 degrees. I am really interested in seeing what happens with these bread pans. Alright, there's 2 little loaves of bread. The next we're going to do is we're going to do some rolls. You can do rolls 2 different ways. I'm going to show you each of the ways that you can do it. You can take a little cutter like this. Oftentimes I'll use the end of a cup, and you can just cut it like you would for cookies. Just like that. Or you can pinch some off with your hand and you can roll it with your hands like this. Take your finger in the middle and tuck it underneath like that. So you can go like that. Roll it in your hand, stick your finger in the middle, and kind of go like that. I like doing the cookie cutters too, because they're all going to rise nicely. Just a cookie cutter just seems a lot faster. Or you can take your finger. You can do all kinds of sizes. You can make hamburger rolls with them. You can make dinner rolls with them. The temperature in my kitchen is almost 100 degrees. And I do not have air conditioning. So you can see that the bread really rose nice because it's so warm in here. I really try not to make these videos so long, but it's really hard to show things without having a longer video. I'm going to show you what I typically do. A cup makes perfect hamburger rolls. So that's like a hamburger roll. So we're having all different sizes only because I wanted to show you a little bit the different techniques that you can do in making rolls. So when these rolls come out, they're going to be all different sizes because I'm showing you the different ways of doing it. The dough actually took 12 cups of flour in all, except for a little bit I'm sprinkling right now. So it was 12 cups of flour. And let's get one more roll in there. Now these are going to rise for a half hour until they're double in size. And this is a very rich roll because of all the eggs and the shortening and the mashed potatoes in it. Alright, that's what the rolls look like, and we're going to let them rise. Here is a follow-up on the bread in these pans that I got at the thrift store. They are amazing. They bake so nice. I love these bread pans, and the bread comes right out of them. I can use these over and over and over again. Wow, I will be buying these if I can down the road. And here are some of the sticky buns. The rest I put in the freezer. Some more sticky buns. And then here are the potato rolls, which you can see. We already ate 2 of them. And they're still hot. Just got them out of the oven. So, there you go, my friends. Is the end of today's baking day.